Welcome to the Strenuous Life Radio, the podcast where leaderpreneurs, entrepreneurs, men and women learn the essentials and soft skills of the strenuous life. Now, here's your host, J.R. Hendrick. Hello, everybody. I'm going to cover a subject that is very important as part of the Ten Commandments. As you know, we've been going through a series called the Ten Commandments. Now, this commandment, we're going to be talking about the sting of adultery. The sting of adultery. You say, JR, you were getting a lot of spiritual lately. Well, maybe it's time we do. Because if we don't, we're going to have some serious problems. The Ten Commandments is the bedrock of the American society, whether you want to admit it or not. Now, here's something you need to know. Adultery stings everybody's life. If you're in it, it affects your family. It affects how your friends see you. And unless you're brain dead or narcissistic, it should affect how you see you. I remember I was married back in the mid to late 1990s. I married my ex-wife in 1997. Our first 3 months of marriage were pretty rocky. And then we were doing good there for a while. I'd say for about 8 months. And then she found something in an older man. Let me tell you something. I remember the day when she came to me and she confessed to me. And she said, "I'm sorry, JR, it felt good to me." Still does. And you know what? I was so crazy I forgave her. Now let me ask you something. How stupid is that? When the affair person is interjecting himself or herself into a marriage, that's a way to ruin a marriage fast. In fact, I'm willing to put adultery and pornography in the same dadgum bucket. Because it's like one mule kicked the whole dang bucket. Because before long, the affair person was introducing some ideas from pornography into our marriage. Needless to say, I got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. I said, look, you can keep hanging out with people that you're still hanging out with. They coddle you and do whatever you want. You can come with me and have a better life. I said, but you can't have both. So one day she came to me and said, "It's over." I felt busted inside for 2 years. But you know what? I found the purpose. Let me give you a hypothetical example of adultery. Because I'm not saying just blaming it on the women. Men can still play stupid when it comes to adultery too. And fornication goes in the same pile as adultery. Because fornication, what it is, it's sexual relations between two unmarried people. You play with that, you're in danger. Say there's a man that's going around, he's in between marriages. He thinks, well, having a little fling ain't gonna do anything to hurt anything. Next thing you know, that woman's with child. And that man's doing stupid enough to where he don't want the child around. And guess what? A child is raised without that father. Let me tell you something. That's something that irks me beyond belief. And guess what? that child comes of age and the dad decides, hey, I want my kid back in my life. Let's say he wants his kid back in the life, but in hopes that he can control the kid. Now, if that ain't stupidity, just trying to overcompensate, that's one thing that pisses me off to no end. Or another thing, you're in a marriage, and you see some chick you went to school with, and your hormones are going nuts. She is the love of my life. So you decide to have a little fling. And then, guess what? You're a child. And you toss that girl aside saying, forget you. Let me tell you something. That's another thing that makes me mad. You're saying, JR, why are you preaching about this? Because your personal life affects your business, whether you want to believe that or not. The 10 Commandments, obedience to the 10 Commandments, affects how you do business. Including and especially, thou shalt not commit adultery. Adultery has consequences. I'll tell you something. And unless you're willing to repent of that adultery, I ain't got no use for you. That's just how it is. Now, adultery is a hard subject. I don't like having to cover it. I don't like having to talk about it. But it seems like we, as American society, we've thrown the 10 Commandments aside. Especially this one. With the sexual revolution of the 1960s and 70s. You talk about craziness. Craziness in the wrong way. You're playing with adultery. Or even fornication. You're playing with fire and you're going to get burned. Sometimes years down the road. That's not something to sit there and fart around with. Now, I hope y'all enjoy listening to Streamless Life Radio. If you like what you hear, please subscribe. Become a part of the Streamless Life Radio family. It's J.R. Hendricks saying until next time, don't you just sit there and take it. Go out there and build your dreams so you can take it. Do what others don't so you can be what others won't. Do what others won't so you can have what others can't. And like my daddy always says, think strong, and live the streamless life. God bless you. Y'all take care now, you hear?